Hello. Imagine yourself at a track meet and you're sitting there. It's hot. You're waiting on somebody to show, to run, to have their event. And you're just sitting there. Your phone may be dead. And you're like, dang, why am I even here? What am I even doing here? I don't even know why. And you just feel uncomfortable. You feel like you need to be doing something. I'm going to do something corny and quote Albert Einstein here. Creativity is the residue of time wasted. Now, boredom is a very, very interesting concept to me. It's something that, and definitely in this day and age where we have things constantly trying to grab our attention, constantly, occupying our brains, on the forefront of our consciousness and whatnot, that boredom is sort of fading away. In that sense, we have the luxury of not being in that state as often. But is that really a good thing? Being bored grants a person a state of slowed time, where their mind isn't preoccupied doing something like listening to music, playing a game. If you're doing that, time seemingly goes fast. You look down, look up, and it may be 20, 15, 30 minutes from when you last looked at the time. But boredom is more, frightening than that, I would say, because this slowed state of time, you get to recognize and watch time flow in real time. And it's in these moments where it could be the most brutal for one's mind, especially unchecked after a long period of time. It's when in these moments where you're thinking of deep thoughts about your worth, your personal growth, your goals, where you're at in life, where you can think about solutions, simulate things in your brain, and you can really, get creative. People who seemingly is always doing something, they may be afraid of this slowed state of mind because they always need to be doing something. Someone like with OCD or something like that, not diagnosed, but more so of a personality. But it's very important to have this slowed state of mind where you're not fixated on things. There's something also very special about being bored with your friends or with someone you may love. Being bored around people is much more intimate than being bored by yourself. Kind of like on a long car drive where you guys are just seemingly run out of things to say, and it may seem awkward. Do you really need to say something else, or is it okay for you just to sit there in silence and enjoy each other's filler time or like a real life loading screen. It's definitely something that I think is really important for us to slow down ourselves, to really think about ourselves. I was reading this book. It focused on people with resume values, they like to call it, where people take a lot of their lives. They put in a lot of effort and throughout their lives on trying to build a mask without really checking themselves inside. So they'll build a house that looks so good inside, or on the outside rather, but on the inside it's a train wreck. It's a hoarder's house, quite literally, of things compiled in very unorganized fashion, or maybe they're untouched, maybe they're spider webs over things that haven't been touched. And the exterior of your house became something that you wanted to value way more because that said person isn't able to conquer what they are on the inside. And I think boredom can help with that. But boredom can also be scary because you do have to sit down and think about those dark things. You do have to sit there and figure out why that X isn't making Y, or these two ends aren't meeting. And the book focuses on people who are building themselves rather than that external resume values, where people, it may look good for other people when they try to go and, say get a job and get a bunch of social groups where they're like-minded in that way, but there's something innately liberating when you're able to conquer yourself and you're able to master oneself through things such as boredom. Sitting down and taking the time to not always be occupied into something is something I'm definitely guilty of doing. Always trying to be up to date on all the political drama, trying to be up to date with all the gaming news for my channel and sports news, indie sports news, where I don't really sit and give myself time to breathe. But I also really value getting information, learning new things. One of my favorite quotes from my favorite coach is, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that can go with a lot of things, but in this case, for this video, with boredom, you must be okay with not being comfortable in this state of boredom. This may be when you're by yourself and you may be anxious, or you may be scared of this feeling, or when you're out and you're not really doing something that you want to do, but you're there because you're with a group of friends and they're having fun, and it's very nice to see other people enjoy themselves. even if you aren't quite doing something that you would want to do. It takes a sound mind to be able to sit about and be comfortable with such a hopeless feeling. But on the other hand, things great can come from such a feeling. So, boredom as a concept is pretty awesome, I would say. What do you think? When was the last time you were bored? What were some of the thoughts that you realized when you sat there and realized time was going by? Or have you ever realized something that you wouldn't really realize if you were preoccupied doing another task or some sort? Let me know in the comment section below, and thank you for listening to me yap on, what should I call this series? I was thinking of mindset. I'll figure that out later.